Since that list dropped, and Nigeria's got to know that, oh, Nigeria is in Group A with these countries, there have been several reactions. Some are even saying that perhaps we need to have calculators right now and begin to calculate to if Cote d'Ivoire plays with this, maybe plays with Guinea-Bissau or plays with Equatorial Guinea, and the scoreline is this, so that means there's hope for Nigeria, that kind of situation. Or do we need to begin to have prayer points? Or like our last guest said, that it is a good thing that Nigeria is in Group A. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
Okay, I think it's actually a good thing, because checking at the group, I discovered that we have more chances of even qualifying. We have chances of even topping the group, if possible. Equatorial Guinea, we can beat them anytime. If we play as a team, not individually, we will definitely beat them. Guinea-Bissau, definitely, we still beat them. The only threat here is Cote d'Ivoire. They are the only top team here that I believe can actually stand Nigeria in this group. So we have every chance of qualifying from this group stage.
All right, Charles, what do you think?
Well, I would go against him by saying, because over my years of watching football is not something you can just sit down and look at the fixtures and say this is how it's going to go. We look at Equatorial Guinea and look at their performances and their fixtures, and the results they've been able to, and the results they've been able to get over the years. You can't just say a walkover, or give it a walkover, like they'll beat. No, it's not like that. If you watch the World Cup, you will see small teams, or teams that you would have popularly called small teams, beat the bigger boys, and you will just say, okay, wow, let's watch. So I cannot just say that it will happen. The chances of Nigeria qualifying from this group are very high, based on numbers, based on players, based on the numbers and the results we have had over the years, and the results we have had in recent time. We beat, was it not, the Sao Tome. We beat them 6-0 the last time. That was our last outing. Yeah. We have a game this evening against Saudi Arabia. So from there, from these results, we'll be able to tell if we'll go far. Because it's not just a factor. It's not just one thing that determines.
All right.
Wait. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I caught you. Now, the reason why I said Nigeria has every chance of qualifying, Nigeria can only beat Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, is because checking our last record with this team. Now, with Equatorial Guinea, the 3 times we played them, we won the 3 games. Now, for Guinea-Bissau, we drew 1, we won 1, and we lost 1 to them. Now, we lost 1 to them because we had issue in that game. Nigerians were playing a selfish game. That was why they scored 1. And if you check the possession of that game, we took possession. We created more chances than even them. So that's why I can categorically say we will beat these 2 countries. So we know that we've seen cases where the junior team or the underdogs beat the bigger teams. Yeah. It happened in the last World Cup. Yeah. We've seen cases like that, but in this group stage, nothing, we'll win.
All right, Kelvin, I like your optimism, as a Nigerian. I should expect that, But let's look at, the crop of players that we have now, looking at the preparation of the team before this tournament and then going forward. How will you assess, the crop of players that we have, and when it comes to experience?
Okay, when it comes to experience, if we have to judge by experience, I would say Nigeria is the best team in Africa. If we have to judge by experience and the kind of clubs where the kind of club where our players are playing with, we'll say Nigeria is the best team in Africa. We have the likes of Osimhen, we have Chukwueze, we have Ndidi, we have Iwobi, and we have a lot of them playing in different big clubs in the Europe. So our team is balanced. But like I said earlier, if we are to play individually, we will lose. But if we play as a team, if we play collectively, we will definitely win.
All right, let me seek Chance's opinion here.
Well, I think we're on the same page. We have a whole lot of firebrand, let me call it firebrand players that are hitting the ground running. We saw the last game where we defeated Sao Tome, and we see the way they were playing, where they played together, the synergy between the midfield and the front players. Chukwueze was like, he was on another level, and they were keen to show themselves. They were keen to show that what they can do, to prove themselves. And since we have a new coach, a new boss now, everybody is more or less trying to show that I can do this, trying to, you know, put themselves on the first team, put themselves on the bone of contention. Let me say it like that. They want to be picked. So everybody wants to play, everybody wants to rack up numbers. But when you look at our front three, when you look at Chukwueze, then there is Osimhen, there is Kalu. There are so many exciting players. There are so many exciting players playing in top leagues in Europe, and you know, racking in the numbers. So it's good. It's good for our confidence. It's good for the team.
All right, let's look at the players. You've mentioned the quality of players that we have, but sometimes we know there's a kind of surprise that happens when the list of players going for the Nations Cup comes up. It's either some of the players in the top clubs don't have permission from their club to play, or we just have that the formation is different. You're hoping to have certain players as starters. You're having them at the bench for maybe a critical match. For instance, the fear in that group is Cote d'Ivoire. So for Cote d'Ivoire match, you're expecting maybe an Osimhen and some other persons to be there, only for you to see that first of all, the formation is different, and you have on reserve people who should be starters. So what's the advice for the coach regarding preparation and in his draw up of list of players? Charles?
Well, I think some matches are priority. There are some games that are must win. So you look at the list of players you have and know which one you feel that can perform in certain matches. And also there's a thing of fatigue, especially when when the competition starts, because it's going to be in the middle of the season. Towards January, it's going to be in the middle of the season. So those players are coming in from their club where they play club football. So it's going to be difficult to just rush everybody in. So you have to look at fatigue. You have to look at their rest time, because I think they'll be playing three days. So you have to look at the rest time, and it's going to give him headache. Let's be fair. It's going to give him headache because you have exciting players. You also have the work of choosing the players and who has to play when, who has played, and to keep the squad happy. Because if they are not happy, they can't give their best. So there's also what you call rotation. You have to rotate and keep everybody happy. You have to keep the synergy in the team, or else you will not get optimal.
So in keeping them happy, what else would need to happen? We know that this is where the NFA comes in, so they have to ensure that the welfare package, and also what other things would need to happen for us to have victory and proceed, not just from the one stage, the group stage, to the other, but to ensure that we clinch the cup, or at least maybe bronze. That was our last performance.
We need the cup this time. We need it. I think player and coach relationship matters. So I think the coach has to create this good relationship between him and players. Because if you are having an issue with your players, definitely it's going to affect him mentally. So as a coach, you are supposed to, I feel you should actually try as much as possible to know the mental well-being of each of his players, especially the top players. That should be one of his priorities, and that will definitely help us as well.
All right, let me take this to Charles. Let's look at the coach, you know, in terms of experience, capacity, and then the technical crew. You know, you agree with me that most of the challenges or the weakness of most of the African team has to do when it comes to the technical aspect. Now, looking at the Nigerian squad, what's your own assessment?
Well, Jose Peseiro he used to be a footballer. He used to be a striker. So he has the experience. He can take the game from the player perspective and from the coach perspective. Now his other coaching staff, I know that there are some ex-Nigerian players. I don't really know names, but I know that there are some ex-Nigerian players that are in the squad, part of his training team, and some of his own guys that he came with. So I'm expecting that they have the optimal training, they have the knowledge, they have the capacity to build these players and motivate them when it's needed. And yeah, you talked about NFF and what their role they have to play. When it comes to making promises and not fulfilling them, that's a big issue. You find most of these players reluctant to come play for their country. You also find them complaining, because if your mental well-being is not looked after, you would not be able to perform on the pitch, because it takes both the mental and the physical for you to give up optimal performances. But in the aspect of the coach and his coaching staff, I think they are good to go.
Kevin, what's your take on this? What's your view?
Like, I actually agree with him. The coach is actually good, and like he said, it's a former striker, so he might not, he does not know it all. That's why he have this coaching staff. So I think for the attackers, we definitely go there. And I think one of the issues we had, what I feel we have in this game, is our goalkeeper. Apart from that, the defense, the midfield, and the forwards, perfect. So the coach has done everything possible to create this good forward. The midfield is good, the defense is good. But I think he should actually work more on the goalkeeper.
All right. Charles, what do you make of this development where match bonuses are being delayed? You know, like you said, the welfare of this player is critical. What do you make of this development? What do you expect NFF to do this time around to ensure that we don't have a repeat of this mistake?
Well, it's just a question of their integrity. It's just a question of what they have been elected to do. These are things that are meant to do. We saw the last World Cup where FIFA actually had to pay the players directly, so that they had to boycott the management, that's the NFF, and of all the countries seeking to pay the players directly. I feel like NFF should own up to their responsibility. They should, handle their office with integrity and do their due diligence to the players.
Charles, how do we improve sport administration in Nigeria? What's your take on that? Your advice to NFF on, when it comes to sport generally, not just football now?
Okay, I think Nigerians pay more attention to sport, but the association do not. I'm very sure that at the federal level, they release allocation, they release money for the sports association, but the people in charge there, I think the administration has actually failed at a certain time, talking about these bonuses that they're supposed to pay players. I think the administration actually failed. Like he said, it has to do with their integrity. The integrity matters a lot. So if they focus, for we as Nigerians to actually build our sports, at least we've seen what the foreigners does. We can actually focus more on them. We can actually learn from them. Believe that we should understand the fact that football or sport, this sport is actually broad, and it has actually helped a lot of Nigerians as well. So if we want to, we can actually focus more on it. Trying to pay more attention to the association as well.
All right, let me put the two of you on the sport now as we wrap up. Maybe a little bit of sport betting. Do you think Nigeria is going to win this time around, the AFCON in January? Do you see us going for gold?
The group actually favors us, so
okay.
We will focus.
So do a prediction.
Well, I see us.
Business now.
Well, I don't know, because football is a game of numbers.
Yeah.
So if you are not able to put in those numbers, you are not going anywhere. So I feel Nigeria has big opportunity, because when you look at other countries, they don't have the caliber of players. Let's say like that caliber of players that we have with the huge experience. I mean, from defense to attack, we have experience of players playing in Europe, of players that have been trained with facilities that help the body and open their mind. They work with experts in the game. So I feel like Nigeria has to go far. Nigeria should go far.
Okay, but let's look at training together. We know that yes, we have the players, and for qualifiers we see maybe some home-based players doing things, but we're going to have a blend of the foreign players and the home-based player.
Yeah.
But sometimes what we find is that they don't get into camp in time, and so there is no enough time for them to get used to each other. That teamwork doesn't really happen. It takes maybe the first and second month before they begin to understand each other's kind of play and settle in. So what's your advice in that regard?
Okay, since the draw has been done already, the players, they've called them already. I think the ones that are selected, they've called them already. So they start making plan of coming on time for them to actually train together with the home-based players. Because I'm very sure that all Nigeria players playing in Europe, they will be given the opportunity to come to their country, to represent their country, for the ones that are called. But the ones that weren't called, that's for them. So I think they should, if they get here 2-3 days before, they can actually, the energy, they just have to find a way to make it work. It is a collective game, not an individual game. It's a collective game, not an individual game. So for the likes of Osimhen and the rest, they can actually get here before, they get it 3 days before their first game. That would actually help as well.
3 days before their first game, isn't that too short? And we know that it is not just the group, because all eyes are on the group. But if you get beyond the group stage, you will meet other countries. There's Cameroon.
That's where the issue. That's where the issue will definitely come from.
How do we ensure that we don't do this fire brigade approach, and at the end of the day, we make a mess of things?
Well, preparedness. If they can prepare well, so there's an issue you made mention of. Some coaches from Europe don't actually release the players on time.
Even when they are called.
Well, we heard of issue of in Villarreal, Chukwueze was delayed. Some were stopped. Sure. Like, you are important to us, you can't go. We are in the middle of the season. That is where they pay you. They pay you to render your services. Now, I can't be paying you that kind of money, and you are telling me in January you will not be available because you are playing. So that's the issue. So NFF needs to look. The organizers of our competition needs to look into when they fix this. It's not always conducive, especially for the players. We find out in Europe that they fix their own international competitions in the summer when the players are at rest, when club football is limited, is at a pause. So why can't we copy, or why can't we imitate them? So for the welfare of our players. You can't have me playing in December. December fixtures are hell. December fixtures are always very, 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 very tight, especially for the players. You find them, especially for those in Premier League, they play on Christmas, and you now expect that I will also travel and come and play in January to come and play a heated competition. Look at the climate. The climate is not favorable. You play under the sun, in scorching heat, in scorching sun. So these things play. So coming back to your question, Nigeria can go far. So there are things that we would try to do. I know coaches do it. They will drop points so that they will play those that qualify second. Because when you play second, if you win your group, you play Group B, who qualifies second in Group B. So there are mathematics that has to go into this thing.
So at the end of the day, we actually brought in the calculators.
yes, mathematics go into play.
I don't think this calculating thing should be. We just have to win. Let's just keep winning.
But you have to avoid the big boys. If you don't avoid the big boys, what do you want to go for? There's Algeria.
We know that.
There's Algeria. There's
Morocco.
There's Morocco. There's
Senegal. Nigeria is also giant of Africa.
We used to be. Let's tell us. We used to be.
We are still the like a guy said just remove the G. We have become the ant.
No, I wouldn't want to say Nigeria is the ant when it comes to football. We're still a very strong, formidable team that other teams are still very much scared of. But I think we need to do what is needed. But from what we've seen, calculators will be needed. Prayers too will be needed. People, when the game will be is in January, so we can start praying ahead. They say the god of football is Nigerian.
But we also need to work.
We also need to work.
It's not just about prayer.
And the selection matters also.
Yeah.
The coach just needs to select the right people.